Hey, son, wake up. It's time for the OnePlus 5 review.
What do you mean I need to do a OnePlus 5 review?
It's been almost a year already.
It's been a year already? Fuck! We better get a move on. Now come on, man, what are you waiting for? Come here! Now, let's go. Now welcome to a local lake near my hometown. And this is where we're going to be conducting the review of the OnePlus 5. Now I bought the OnePlus 5 almost a year ago, all the way back in June when it first launched, the day at the Amsterdam launch event. I didn't buy it at the event, but I did buy it online that same day. And I've used it ever since, so it's about time for a review. So without further ado, let's get the specs out of the way first. On the inside, the OnePlus 5 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 octa-core processor running at 2.45 GHz, Adreno 540 GPU, 6 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage, or 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage, which unfortunately cannot be expanded with an SD card. Now all this hardware is plenty to run any of the latest games on the Play Store, and enough storage for weeks of photos and videos. I know, because I've been there. And this phone is also really fast, even to this date. It honestly still feels like a brand new phone. Now the OnePlus 5 has a 3300 mAh battery that charges over USB-C using OnePlus's proprietary dash charge technology, which allows the phone to go from 0 to 60 in about 30 minutes, which by car standards would be ridiculously slow. However, in the OnePlus's favor, that is stupid fast. And all this without generating any heat inside the phone. This is because AC is converted to DC inside the charger instead of the phone, which in return normally generates excess heat. And because the phone is provided a constant juice of DC power, even while gaming, watching videos or whatever, this phone charges at the same rate as if it was screen off. So because the battery is so good, I opted to keep my screen at 100% brightness all the time. And even then, I still get great screen on times while watching movies on Netflix. And if you don't believe me, here are some screenshots of my battery's performance over the course of a few days. The OnePlus 5 also supports NFC, Bluetooth 5.0 and dual nano SIM slots. NFC is something they removed on the OnePlus 2, and I really hope they never do that again, because it's such a useful tool to quickly share contact or music with someone else. Bluetooth 5.0 is an awesome addition, and I'm really glad that they added it, even though at the time it was recently released. I actually didn't think that they would get it in order fast enough to launch the phone with Bluetooth 5.0. But they did anyway. And while I think it's good that the OnePlus 5 has dual SIM slots, I really hope that they had a hybrid SIM slot. We've seen on many phones now that there is an option to have either 2 SIM cards installed or 1 SIM card and a microSD card on the back. I wish that on the next OnePlus phone they're gonna add this, and I've actually told them that on Twitter once to kind of clarify that this technology exists. The phone was shipped with Android 7.1.1 and has since been updated to Android 8.1 Oreo. The biggest game changer can easily be Oxygen OS, which is the low-key skin that OnePlus has put on top of Android. Many have said that people prefer stock Android over OnePlus's Oxygen OS. They actually clarified that in a poll they'd done on Twitter. However, I do not agree, simply because of the following reasons. However, while Samsung's Tizen might be ridiculously overwhelming because of the majority of apps it just adds that you won't even use, having duplicate mail apps, messaging apps, or even gallery apps or calendar apps. However, I think that Oxygen OS is just an enhanced version of Android. It is your simple Android, but with some simple functions added that really just enhance the experience. Experiences you can just simply shut off. You don't need to use them, but it's very nice that they're there. For example, I cannot live anymore without the screen off gestures to activate my flashlight, or to skip to the next track, or pause a playlist completely. With the OnePlus 5, Gaming Do Not Disturb was also added. a functionality that disables the hardware buttons and your notifications inside the phone so that you do not longer have to be disturbed and no longer return to the home screen whenever you hold the phone by the bezels. Speaking of hardware buttons, I really love that you can add additional functionality to the back, recent and home button by double tapping them or long pressing them. For me, for example, I long press the home button to activate Google Assistant. I double tap it for the camera. I long press the recent button to turn my screen off so that I do not have to press hard on the power button. When I double tap it, I launch a split screen. When I long press the back button, it brings up the notification screen. And when I double tap it, it goes back to the most recent app. This adds a completely new layer to the user experience, and I honestly cannot live without it anymore. Launching apps in split screen was never this fast before. Neither was going between apps back and forth, or putting my phone to sleep by holding my finger on the back button. On the outside of the phone, the OnePlus 5 has a 5.5-inch Optic AMOLED 1080p display, which is 401 pixels per inch and features Gorilla Glass 5 for decent screen protection. Now honestly, I love the display on the OnePlus 5. It produces a bright, color-accurate, vibrant, high-contrast image that can be seen easily, even in direct sunlight while wearing sunglasses. I am not even kidding, like I can see it here, clear as day, on full brightness. It's just easy. And with high contrast, by the way, I mean perfect blacks, because the screen is AMOLED. The OnePlus 5 also has different color gamut options, ranging from sRGB to DC3IP. However, I've kept mine at the default option, which is calibrated by OnePlus themselves. However, even though this screen is great, it has one flaw, and it actually made quite a few headlines. The OnePlus 5's display is upside down, which for some people can make the screen look as if it's slower than most screens, because on each image input it has to rotate the screen before it can display it onto the image. However, for me that is not really the case, or at least if it's there, I do not notice it. Now honestly, I really hope that OnePlus never really changes the display that much, at least in terms of resolution, because of the 1080p display. Upgrading it to a 1440p display, most people are not even going to notice the difference. I know I won't, and it's only going to increase battery drain, so why would you even do it? So I'm really happy that OnePlus has kept the 1080p display for so long, and I really hope to see it in the next phone too, because that battery drain is really gonna hurt the user experience. The OnePlus 5 also has a fingerprint sensor that acts as the home button. It is made out of a ceramic material, which is a great material because it prevents it from getting scratched or damaged. And honestly, this fingerprint sensor is still one of the fastest fingerprint sensors on the market, even here now in 2018. Now the OnePlus 5 also supports Face ID. Ever since Apple released their Face ID, Apple had something similar in the making for the 5T. So I was overjoyed when I heard that it was coming to the 3T and the 5. These days I use Face ID daily because of its speed and convenience, and it even works during overcast weather or in pitch black nights. And if it is too dark still, your phone can light up your screen so that it can see your face once again. Now of course OnePlus knows that Face ID is nowhere going to be any more secure than Touch ID. So for making payments and such, you won't be able to use Face ID. You're still going to have to rely on your fingerprint sensor or any other password method that you have configured instead. As for the build quality, the OnePlus 5 has a full metal unibody design that features OnePlus's so-called Horizon line, which gives the phone a very natural feeling in the hand. And honestly, I agree with that. The Horizon line actually does make the phone feel very uniform to the hand. Back when my phone was not inside a D-brand grip bumper case, it actually felt really nice in the hand. As for buttons, the OnePlus 5 has great buttons. They're very tactile, easy to reach, and the alert slider has a very nice texture to it, which is good, and you're gonna need it because that slider is actually pretty stiff and hard to move. So the texture provides some extra grip. Now at the bottom of the phone you can see the speaker, which even if it's in your pocket like this, is still plenty loud enough to hear for you and people surrounding you. The audio experience with the built-in DAC of the OnePlus 5 is an absolute joy to listen to. OnePlus phones are one of only few phone companies that let you mess around with the EQ settings to personalize your sound experience. Providing, of course, you have a headphone jack, which many companies over the years now have eliminated. OnePlus, of course, is one of those companies that actually kept the headphone jack, so thank you very much for that. Now, I love that OnePlus actually asks its users on Twitter whether or not to keep the headphone jack. And I'm super happy that they kept it, because there are just a few times when my Bose QC35s have run out of juice and I had to use a headphone jack. I was really happy that my phone at the time had one. Getting stuck on a plane and not having enough juice on your Bose QC35s just sucks. So having that headphone jack to still be able to listen to the music is absolutely priceless. So please keep adding headphone jacks until at least Bluetooth has become more affordable, so that we don't have to spend more than $300 on a decent Bluetooth headset. Now, unlike the upcoming OnePlus 6, the OnePlus 5 does not feature any sort of waterproofness or water resistance, even though due to its superior high build quality, water doesn't seem to damage it all that much. People have actually tried to put this thing in water and see if it survived. I'll link some videos of people that tried this in the video description down below. But just don't complain to me that if it does corrode, it is not covered under warranty. The phone also came in multiple color options: midnight black and slate gray, which is the version I got since I opted for the 64GB model. Now, when I first got the phone, it got delivered with a beautiful set of OnePlus Bullet V2s, which are $20. And weirdly enough, very comparable to the Sennheiser Momentums, which are $80. It's just ridiculous how good they are for the low price. Furthermore, the bundle also included a carbon case, which looked somewhat like a gorgeous Kevlar armor, just like advertised. And I used that case for the majority of the life cycle of this phone. However, by now I think you can see that I've opted out to get a D-brand skin eventually instead, surrounded by a D-brand grip bumper case. Now, included with the bundle, it also came with a dash car charger, which honestly looks like the sexiest car charger I've ever seen with any phone of any manufacturer. And you know what the crazy thing is? This charges exactly just as fast as a wall charger. And on top of that, it lights up blue to indicate that you're dash charging. For cameras, the OnePlus 5 has a 16 megapixel IMX398 sensor with an aperture of f1.7. It also has a second 20 megapixel Sony IMX350 sensor with an aperture of f2.6, featuring 2x optical and electronically enhanced zoom, I'll get back to that in a minute, and a dual LED flash. As for the front camera, the OnePlus 5 has a 60 megapixel Sony IMX371 sensor with an aperture of f2.0 and a screen flash. The phone can shoot 720p at 30 or 120 frames per second in slow motion, 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second, and 4K at 30 frames per second. All video modes are electronically stabilized, also known as EIS, for a smooth looking video. Unfortunately, no optical image stabilization, but honestly, the phone doesn't even need it due to its amazing EIS. If you wish to see more pictures that I've taken with this phone, be sure to check out an album on Google Photos that I've linked in the description below that features many more photos that I've taken with this phone. But be wary though, because if it's uploaded to Google Photos and it wasn't made with a Pixel phone, it's all 50% or so compressed versus the original file. So don't take the quality that is on Google Photos for its original quality. The original quality had much less noise. And I'm sorry, but of course for the next review I will honestly put the photos somewhere safe, uncompressed. I'm already busy as we speak. For examples, the pictures that I'm showing you on screen now only have to go through YouTube compression, so there's that. I honestly think that even though the OnePlus 5 doesn't have the best camera or camera software, for example, panorama mode is absolutely abysmal right now, but it can still take some amazing shots using Pro mode. This is the phone that got me addicted to photography. It even made me go as far to wake up at 5 to catch the sunlight at 6, which required me to climb across some rocks without any safety or anyone knowing that I was there. It was something that I never would have thought about doing unless it wasn't for this phone. Now I have this man with me that walked up to me, and he has an iPhone X here. A phone that this one actually still beats today. In app loading, web page loading, or whatever else, except for the camera of course, which is just, well, way too high end. But for the rest, this is still a killer phone. Even versus a around $1,100 phone. En kun je raden hoe duur deze is? Now honestly, the OnePlus 5 is exactly what it was marketed for. It was marketed as a student phone. And I honestly think that this is the case because of that 2x optical / electronically enhanced zoom. Sitting at the back of the class and being able to take pictures even from all the way back there is just a very handy tool to have as a student. It also has ridiculously fast charging, so I've had multiple occasions where I woke up with 0% and then I went for a shower around 15 to 30 minutes and my phone was all the way back at 60% charge. Put breakfast in with that and we'd have a 80% charge. This phone can keep up with your son and daughters like no parent could ever. It also has the beautiful looks that a student needs to socialize with this phone, and it also has the speed to keep up with the student. The phone can clearly also be used by other people, and they have been used by other people, but honestly, this phone is really meant for students like me. But I would recommend it to anyone. I would recommend it to my parents, I would recommend it to my friends, all because this thing is just so much cheaper and better for the performance you get for the dollar. And all of this amazing phone design, all for just 500 euros. Now, I know what you think. 500 is quite a lot. 500 is quite a lot for him, but it's actually mid-range phone right now. But you're getting premium phone specs. Things like the S9 right now or the iPhone X are around 1,000. Imagine that for a second. You get the same performance as those high-end sharks and you still only pay half as much. I honestly don't think of switching brands anytime soon, simply because OnePlus is currently the only company that listens to the needs of its core users. And OnePlus, we love you for that. So please don't ever change and keep releasing these gradually improved but outstanding phones. Don't change major things. Don't go running after Apple or Samsung. Just do your own thing. Decide what's good for the user experience and keep it up. And I honestly cannot wait to see what the OnePlus 6 will be like. But if it features glass, we're gonna have a conversation. So thank you guys for watching this review. I hope you guys liked it, so be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell to keep getting notified whenever I release something. Follow me on my social media, or come check out our Discord channel to communicate with other people that are into tech or gaming. And I honestly am stoked to start on the next review, which is probably going to be something Bluetooth speaker-ish related. Okay, so the OnePlus 6 is gonna be glass. I'm sure they have a valid reason. Instead, Lau highlighted less tangible, more subjective benefits, like that glass communicates a transparent, bright, and pure feeling.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Well, fuck, guess I'll be skipping this one. OnePlus is going completely hippie! Dear Pete, when we meant that we wanted something transparent, we meant the company, not the actual phone. Ugh. Any other brands open for a non-glass phone?
Nope.